Well, good morning to Now You Know, and we're on kind of a different set here this morning. We're actually broadcasting from Somerset Abbey, and we have Stacy O'Brien, one of the owners of Somerset Abbey, along with her husband Tom. Before we get into that, I just want to mention Katie Willett, who our executive producer, who normally is here for the show, has decided not to come out and brave the cold and the ice today. And I certainly understand that. Katie will be back, I think, next week for our Keeping Pace show. We're having a special Thanksgiving show, and that will be interesting, that's for sure. So, Stacy, good morning.
Good morning.
This is an absolutely beautiful facility. And by the way, if you see some food here in between us, Stacy made this herself. You want to go over some of the items that are here? I'm going to have a chance to sample it maybe on air this morning.
Sure. So we've got a raspberry white chocolate muffin that's going on, and that's the muffin of the month that we're featuring at our Sunday brunches. And then, of course, we've got our Yellow Brick Road. It's an Elton John tribute this Saturday. So we are making a beef short rib pot pie. So I made one up ahead of time for you. And then this is just a little brie, cranberry, and pecan bite, kind of like an appetizers thing that we're also going to be offering on Saturday.
Oh, boy, that sounds good. Now, I know that you do brunches where you can get food like this. And the brunches are what, every Sunday?
Every Sunday.
From 11 till 2?
10
to 1. Okay,
Yep.
10 to 1. 10 to 1. So for those who are going to church on Sunday, I won't promote any particular churches, but if you're, say, just up the street at the Catholic Church, then you can walk right down and go to brunch after church.
Yeah,
here at the Somerset Abbey, right here in Madison. And we're located on Main Street. We are across from the country store. The Country Farm store. So it's in a prominent place right on Main Street. And we have, this originally was a church way up until, the end of 2014. And it was a congregational church.
Yep.
And then I've read that they had their last mass at the end of 2014. And then how soon after that did you purchase the property?
The deal was actually struck before that last mass.
Okay.
And so we just got started right after that. I guess we opened our doors that spring. There was a little bit of jumping through hoops and getting our licensing and, all the things that go into doing business. And
so you've been in business now 4 to 5 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, 4 years. And, let's get into a little background here, Stacy. What in the heck possessed you to come to Madison and start this business?
Well, I grew up here.
Okay.
Moved away in the mid-'80s, went to college. Was living in Vermont, that sort of thing, which is why people see a lot of Vermont license plates. But this is my hometown, so we started spending more time closer to my retirement age. I'm coming home, and so I'm here in town, and I'm seeing what's going on. In Madison, of course, is where I grew up, and I remember a time when the downtown was full, and and it's not so much anymore. And though there's some great things happening on the horizon there. And then I hear about the church and how they might have to close. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can't stand to see another building in my hometown closed or torn down or, become derelict or, something like that. So I turned to my husband and I said, "This is crazy, but we've got to do something. We can't just talk about it. We need to try and act and do something." So he struck the deal, and here we are.
Now, you folks this is a new facility, a relatively new facility for you, but it wasn't as if you had not been in the entertainment business or certainly in the tent business before,
Yeah.
right? Give us a little background.
Well, I actually went to school for architecture, but I got a job while I was still in college working at a bar. So I had a lot of experience bartending. That's what I used to pay my student loans and pay off trucks and, this sort of thing. And then I'd been there for so long that they offered me a management position. So then I got my toe dipped in, managing just a bar, but we had music and things as well. So I got some experience booking music and that sort of thing, which helps here with booking music. And then Tom, of course, he's had his tent business and does festivals and fairs and weddings and music and, so a lot of our equipment came from our business there. So the tables and chairs and, plates and silverware and, lighting stuff and stages that we use outside in our summer concert series, and that tent we put up is one from our inventory, and so
Very large tent too.
yeah. That one's a 60 by 80.
Yeah, it's very large. Now you use that during the summer months.
Yeah. Do some weddings out there as well as our summer concerts and a prom.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so you're what? Maybe 6 months of outside stuff. Do you? And then you come inside and for the rest of the year. And I mean, we're sitting in the main section of what used to be a church.
Yeah.
And it is very impressive looking around here. We're sitting on the stage.
Beautiful.
Or the altar at one time. And we have stained glass windows around us. So they're absolutely gorgeous, and a very high ceiling here. And you would think the acoustics may be right for music and concerts and so forth.
Oh, absolutely. We do shows here all winter long. So this Saturday we've got Yellow Brick Road coming. It's an Elton John tribute, but we do dances and in February we've got a Valentine's dance, for grown-ups, and local bands will come, and we've got our dance floor out there, and for a long time I didn't want to take the pews out. I thought we'd be doing more weddings, and we still do book weddings, but the call was just needed for more table space. So it's an awesome space, as you said, acoustically for music, and Pat Caldwell's coming next month.
Actually, before we went on the air, you and I talked about that a little bit, and I actually had the chance to come, it was either 2 or 3 years ago, to Pat Caldwell's Motown Christmas show, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I was struck by not only the beauty of the place, but the acoustics in here. It sounded just excellent. So
now, that was still when we had the pews, right?
That's still when you had the pews. That's correct.
So now you can tear it up on the dance floor.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So the dance floor is right below us. Actually, the cameras are pointing towards us, but off the stage there is actually a dance floor, which there wasn't before.
That's correct.
So we've got that, and now table seating is good for how many people?
This Saturday we'll have 96 in here. So
96.
We sort of changed the configuration of the room to suit this setup right now. We just had comedy last weekend.
Okay.
So this was our setup for comedy.
Okay. And you have a whole variety of different shows. I mean, music is certainly a strong thing, and I've noticed a series of tribute bands. And this coming Friday is when you're going to have the Elton John tribute band on, and then you've got some other tribute bands scheduled for the future. I noticed I saw Bon Jovi was one, which is certainly interesting. I've seen the Beatles as being
they'll be
one.
coming in March.
In March, okay.
Let's see, we've got Tom Petty
And Tom Petty, yeah.
tribute booked for this summer. And we are having the Aerosmith tribute back
Yeah.
again. They were great last year, so we've decided to have them back. They brought out such a good crowd, and a lot of people were asking. So I've got this is fun. They usually do the Highland Games down at Old Orchard Beach, but I've hired Albanac to come
Okay.
this June. June? Yeah,
Mhm.
June. Beginning of June. And it is a bagpipe and basically a drum line, which
Interesting.
I love a drum line. I grew up just down the way from the old high school, and I would hear the drums when we'd have the football games, and so I do love a drum line.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Now, how do you find these bands, or how do you are you on the phone all the time calling different bands to try to line them up for the future, or how do you go about it? And
I've been trying to get this band
Yeah.
since I've opened,
yeah,
and we've finally grown enough that I can afford them. But anyhow, you just always I'm always listening to music, keep my ear to the ground. I'm always searching, looking on the web. People will give me suggestions. Sometimes they come to me, with a booking agent. So
okay. So occasionally booking agents are involved.
yeah.
Now, sometimes it must be a little difficult. Here you are in Madison, Maine, and how do you convince some of them to come up here and say, we're going to be able to get enough people so we can afford to have you and all that stuff? Probably some people are a bit dubious about whether they can make it work or not.
Yeah, sometimes you get the Madison where,
Yeah, that's right,
and
that's
you have to, mention some of the larger cities and we're about 20 minutes from there, or,
Yeah.
It's worked out. We've got a real receptive crowd in the area. People are coming from all over the state, which is also great for our local economy. They're looking to buy food and gasoline and what other services we have around here. So they're heading into these stores and so it helps us all. To bring people in.
So what are your demographics, really? The types of people that you get in, and how far away do they come, and so forth? I assume you can't rely on just people from, a 10 or 20 mile radius in order to make this thing work.
Oh, gosh, we get them from all over the state. And I can see when they order tickets, for their addresses and things that they put in on the website.
Yeah.
So, we've gotten people down around Augusta, Lewiston area. We even had some people from New Hampshire one time, which I don't know, maybe they have a campground here, I don't know. It's a ways to go for a show. But, the coast, they come from the coast. We get them from up around Bangor, the mountains, like Rangeley, the valley over there, they'll come from there.
Probably a lot of this is word of mouth now. You've been in business 4+ years, and people are hearing about it and saying it's a pretty cool place to come, and certainly the entertainment seems to be pretty good. So they're starting to get that. What type of marketing do you do? I suppose we're doing some of that this morning.
Yeah, some of it here. I still do newspaper. Some people say newspaper is dead, but I find with the demographic of people that I get in, they're still reading newspapers. So I do newspaper, and I do a lot on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook seems to be a whole new horizon, but people are on it, whether it's just catching up with old friends or playing games or what have you. So, I take out little ads on Facebook. And
Facebook there's no particular age for Facebook. I mean, you have everywhere from very young to very old that are on Facebook, so a lot of people are looking at it.
But I find that the demographic of people that come here are probably in their mid-30s to 70.
Okay. All over the board then, really, yep.
Probably we're probably not as sexy to the 20-year-old. You know,
No.
we start early. We do a 7 o'clock show, and we go to about 10. And
Yeah.
I get you home and in your jammies for the 11 o'clock news.
I can't think who said this the other day, but somebody said nothing good happens after 10 o'clock at night. So, in other words, your focus is not to be a bar. It's
No.
to be an entertainment with food and some alcohol, but everything
Yeah.
done by 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's a great place to come with your friends, your spouse, your date. You know, you can talk. You don't have to worry about somebody fighting for your seat. You can get up and go to the bathroom comfortably and not have to worry about coming back and somebody's stolen your coat, or you have no place to sit, or you need to worry if somebody's tampered with your drink, or it's just not that type of atmosphere, you know?
Now, how successful are you at filling the place? I mean, you've got stuff going on, it seems to me, almost every weekend, either Friday or Saturday night, or both sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that Elton John concert coming up this weekend is already full with people, so you can get, what'd you say, 96 people, I think, into this
we're doing
room.
96 in the room.
Yeah, and so when average capacity, I mean, do you fill most of your events or come close?
The music has really started to take off, but, it's kind of it's a mixed thing. Some things really go, and, other things we're still struggling with. The comedy wasn't a bad turnout, but, we could have easily put another 30 people in here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Is music the number one thing?
Music is number one.
Yeah.
There are people that come to every comedy show, and they are big fans. And then there are other people that are, I didn't realize you were doing comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what I need to do differently to get the word out. That is getting the word out music-wise, but it's a mixed bag.
But you're consistent with the comedy, right? Did I read something about it being second Friday of every month or something at one time?
It was. We did take a step back from that. There was a man who was booking all the comedy here, and he picked up a couple more rooms, and things were just getting really busy for him. And as I mentioned, that's one of the things that's not as consistent. People aren't coming to that one as much, so he kind of dropped the room. So I looked around, and I had to find some other folks to come in, and so I have filled that slot, and so we'll be having more comedy again in the coming year.
So you're still experimenting a bit to see what really hits, but
that's what any business does.
Oh, absolutely. Now you have, what is it? The improv group, Capital City Improv, that seems to appear here a fair amount.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about them. If you keep inviting them back, it must be pretty successful.
Yeah. Dennis Price is the guy, and he is a hoot. And it's different. It's different sort of comedy. They very witty.
Okay.
They're fast, like on that show. Whose line is it?
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
People will. They'll ask for names or topics or a scenario or something, but they act it out. They sing a little. It's funny and it's different and it's pretty clean. You don't have to worry about outrageous language or getting really raunchy or something like that, which is nice. Some people don't know when you're going to comedy.
Yeah. So the idea is not to have a lot of swear words and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, something you don't have to be.
You can be funny without doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty good. And I've got an all ladies of comedy night coming up. You Should Smile More is what it's billed under, and that's in January, I believe. January.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be good. There's some really funny ladies, and maybe just because I'm a woman, but they talk about things that they happen every day, but life's funny, Sometimes it's really embarrassing, but it's funny.
Sometimes just talking about those everyday events and putting a comic twist to it is really funny to listen to. So that should be an interesting show. Now you do, you have some psychic or medium that comes.
Yeah.
How does that work, or how does that go?
For our part, we just do dinner.
Okay.
So you go online and you book your tickets and you pick out your meal. And then there is a group of them, and they are connected with the spiritualist camp up in Etna.
Okay.
Camp Etna. Which is, because I was like, how do you just know a bunch of, spiritualists? And but that's why they're all connected there, and some of them own little cottages there on the property. Mm-hmm. And so she'll get a group of, fellow mediums and psychics that'll come down, and they just kind of work the room and sit down at every table, and I try to book it per group. So when you buy a group of tickets, those people are at a table, not just, everybody's at the same table, because some of that's kind of private,
Right.
So, and they get their readings, and we just put the food out, and everybody seems to be happy. And as long as they keep buying tickets, I'll keep doing it.
Absolutely.
It's definitely driven by the public. And one of the other things that we're doing is murder mystery dinners.
Yes, yeah.
Those are really fun.
Yeah. Is that audience participation too, or?
It is, sort of. They're a troupe of actors that come in, so it's a play that's going on, and somebody gets it. But they're looking for the audience to sort of interact and be part of it. The last one took place during World War II in London, just outside of London, in the country, and they were raising funds for the orphans of war. So in theory, all the people that attended were part of the fundraiser, so that's how the actors were acting. So they were interacting with the different tables and talking to them, and some of them they were given titles or things like that, which came up later in the skit, where they would be referring to this table or that person. And so as typical, somebody gets it, so then you have to figure out who, and the characters sort of reveal themselves to be, each one of them is maybe a little shady and has a reason why they could have, offed that person. And so they hand out awards, the sleuth award for the person who got it right, and then there's usually a bonehead award for the person who's like way off. But it's all in good fun, and it's usually a great time, good meal, and the next one we have coming up is in January as well, and that is an old take on a radio show.
Okay.
So where they used to do the sounds and things like that, the Green Hornet was a radio show, and the Phantom and stuff like that. So it's a little like that. So there'll be a radio show going on within the play, and again, somebody gets it, and you have to figure out, and it comes down that the station manager was maybe having a hard time, and people were going to start losing their jobs, and so.
One thing about radio back then, I guess, it was a little bit before my time, but the family used to gather around the radio rather than the television set. But the thing is, because you couldn't see it, it was all in your head. You try to visualize what was going on. So actually, you have to be a bit more creative to do that. It must have been kind of interesting to have lived in that time.
Yeah, my dad still talks about listening to that. The Phantom was one of his favorites.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's good. So that's certainly going to be an interesting show. The one thing I noticed too is the affordability of your shows. I think most of them range from $15 a head to maybe $25 or something. If you had somebody a little bigger name, that price might go up a bit. But it seemed to be pretty affordable family entertainment.
Well, we try, and we are in the poorest county of the state, so we try to make it affordable for all,
Absolutely. I don't think $50 or $75 a night, you're going to do that in Madison, Maine, or Central Maine, really.
No.
Yeah.
But, and the pricing varies too. Of course, it's a little bit more for the dinners, but you're paying for the dinner.
You're paying for the dinner. That's that's right. That's the other thing too, is you do, well, maybe murder mysteries and things like that, or dinner shows.
Yeah.
So what types of things do you do for dinner? You're doing all of this yourself, right? It's all you?
Well, it's myself, and I've got a lady who works with me. She's downstairs now, Sarah.
Yeah.
And she's starting to, prep some things, get desserts happening for the brunch this weekend.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. What types of things do you have for dinner, for example?
We have done a steak with a red wine reduction. We do a chicken marabella that's got a lot of those Mediterranean sort of herbs and spices, mixed in with like olives and then some sweetness. And it's got a white wine base to it. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about all the things that go into it. Crab stuffed haddock is one that we do a lot. People
sounds really good.
like that. That is actually pretty popular. We do a chicken francaise, which is a sort of a garlic lemon white wine sauce.
Ooh. So these sound like pretty creative ideas to me, and sounds really good. Now, where do you prepare the food?
Oh, we've got a kitchen downstairs.
Okay. By the way, in a few minutes, we're gonna conduct a little tour of the building, as well as your guest cottage.
Yeah.
Carnigal. Boy, I'll tell you, I practiced this before going on the air, and I still don't have it right. But anyways, Carnigal Cottage.
Yep.
And so we're going to go over there as well here in a few minutes, so everybody can get a chance to see. These buildings are really very nice, and I think it'll be great having a little tour around, which we'll do shortly. Now, tell us a little bit about the events that you do here. Weddings are obviously a big thing.
Yep, we do weddings, which I use the cottage for. We offer that up for bridal parties to stay for the weekend, so they can come in and, whether it's decorating the tent or they're decorating the room downstairs for the reception or they're getting married up here, they can decorate on Friday, get married on Saturday, and spend the night through till Sunday. So they don't have to go anywhere after the reception.
And you of course, you do food and so forth for that. I know you do a brunch or breakfast, I think, for the wedding party. But kind of take us through some of the things that you do during a wedding. They can actually have the ceremony right where we're at.
Yep.
And how many people can you fit in here for a wedding ceremony?
With just chairs, we can do about 160 people up here. And same amount out in the tent. We can do a wedding for about 150, 160 people.
Okay. In the summertime, are you almost always out in the tent area for a wedding?
No, if they have a smaller, more intimate, we could do that downstairs. We can do about between 80 and 100 people down there seated.
Okay.
But it starts to get tight once you start adding in room for dance floor, which usually people want to dance at a wedding. So oftentimes if we're above 80, I just kind of automatically will take it outside.
Okay.
Because it just gives them more space. And we carpet just for a show, it'll be just the asphalt of our parking lot. But for something like a wedding or a prom or whatever, we actually have black carpeting that we roll out and put down, so it sort of dresses the space up.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever been to the show in there?
No, I have not.
Okay, we've got chandeliers that hang for lighting.
Ooh.
And we've got a tent liner that hangs, so when you look up, you're not looking at just the underside of the tent. It's almost, it reminds me a little of parachute material, where it's that kind of puffy white, hangs, and it's beautiful and dresses up the inside a little bit.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now you of course you can have the wedding in here or out there, and then a reception.
Yep.
And you do that too, and take us through that a little bit.
When they'll come in, and usually we figure out how many people they have, and I have a menu that I offer, which there's 3 different layers of choices. You could say that price points. Like if you just wanted to do something like, you're just going to do a cocktail party, just hors d'oeuvres, you could do something like that. If you wanted something that was more like soup, sandwiches, maybe some salads, a little light eating, we could do something along that lines. And then we have the kind of all-out buffet where you have like 3 entrees and, cheese platter and, veggie trays and, things to drink and usually a starch that you pick, a couple veggies that you pick, and so it'll be your whole buffet, and you pick that.
This must be a lot of work for you if it's just you and a helper involved, right?
Yeah, Sarah and I, we kind of do it all. It takes up a lot of our week, but that's, like any job.
Is the food always through you, or is there some other catering that they can do too, or?
If they want to bring in an outside cake or something like that, but yeah, the food is usually all through us.
Yeah.
If you take the time to get the license, it's kind of rough if, and I'm not saying anybody's Aunt Sally is doing a bad job, but if Aunt Sally makes something and she's taken all this time and all this money to make something, but then she forgot it out on the counter, and then she looks at it and says, oh, well, it's probably okay. And she brings it, and then everybody gets sick. Who are they going to look at? Who are they going to blame?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to blame us. So
it's better you control it.
Yeah, food just goes through us.
I certainly understand. Now, what are some of the other events that you have here? Or people? I did read about class reunions, and there can be speaking engagements here, and things like that.
We have the ability to do small trade shows, especially out in the tent. And with Tom's experience with that sort of stuff, we've got all the pipe and drape to be doing booths, spaces, so we could do small trade shows. We have done class reunions. I've got 2 booked for next year, and I did one for last year. We're doing the proms and weddings. We've done things for Somerset Public Health, where they've done just informational stuff. We've done business trainings. Skowhegan Savings Bank was here with us just last week, and they did, I want to say, like a graduation. They offer a class in customer service, so they give everybody a plaque, and they have a dinner. And
very nice.
So Christmas parties, I've got like 4 Christmas parties booked for December. We've done personal birthday parties, and
you do just about anything. Yeah.
If it goes to keep the building open, I'll do it within reason, legally.
Yeah. So most of your stuff is Friday and Saturdays, right? Or Friday, Saturday night, but occasionally some of the Christmas parties might be other nights of the week, or
Maple Crest is in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And Skowhegan had their thing on a Tuesday, so.
Okay.
It just depends on when people want to do it.
Well, it's such a beautiful facility. It's nice to see it being used. And as I said, I would assume, with all the people that you're drawing to Madison, it must have some spin-off effects on some of the other businesses in town, restaurants in particular.
Yeah, I touched on that, and I hope so, because I'm pretty excited about, I think, the direction that Madison's going to be going in. It seems to me that it's on the just about to enter into a renaissance with the new owners of the mill.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And we've got some exciting businesses that are going in, and we do have more people coming to the area. And I hope they are buying gasoline and food and going to Rennie's and buying clothing and the things that you see. I think anything that people can open here, and I'm just one of many here that are making Madison.
Well, with the folks that have taken over the Madison paper mill, I think the idea is to have 150, a couple hundred new jobs coming the next year, and obviously with more people employed and more money in their pockets, hopefully that benefits the whole town, including your business.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they like to come out for some music and a bite to eat.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think one thing that we want to do is, as I mentioned earlier, is we want to go on a walking tour around your facility, as well as the Coningle Cottage, and so people can see that. So why don't we'll shut down the camera for a moment, and then we'll start a little walking tour around. You can kind of describe the facilities to us.
Okay. The organ, it was put in here in 1928, and the last person to play it was David Mitchell. He played for the congregation, and unfortunately he has passed. But it is still there and works and is available when people do weddings, or I'd love to do a Christmas concert on it, but I just have to find the person willing to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we've got the great stained glass.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
A lot of it was donated at the time by the Weston family.
They certainly were a prominent family in the town of Madison, that's for sure.
Yes, they were. Donated the land, and it's still in the deed there that there cannot be a livery on the premises.
I don't think there's a problem with that.
No, not these days. But yeah, livery is where you would have your horses kept. Which makes me think that maybe they had one here in town and they didn't want the competition. Anywho, so yeah, there's bell still works.
Now tell me something, when you have a wedding, how's this set up?
So we do rows of chairs. So it would be these chairs, and we'd line them up so you can get 150. We leave the aisle, take the dance floor up, and people can still get married up on the altar. And we ring the bell to beat the band so everybody in town knows that they have gotten married.
So you still got an active bell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was also brought here from Massachusetts or something. As I mentioned off screen, this is the third location for this church. The first one being on Blackwell Hill. I think where the Bangor Savings was the second one. And then the Westons donated the land, and they built this in 1892. Yeah, so I think they dragged that bell all over the place.
Do you ever ring the bell before any performances, or just weddings?
Just for weddings and the occasional funeral.
Okay. The woodwork is exquisite in here, really.
The woodwork is stunning, and
yeah.
This is kind of cool, actually, which you don't see that often. These panels work like old windows do.
So you can shut those, right?
Yeah, they rise and close, and it's all on a weighted system.
Okay.
So,
do you have any reason to shut them?
We usually leave them open, so there's free flow back and forth.
Okay.
But sometimes when we're doing something, well, for heating purposes in the winter, lots of times I'll shut this up and not heat this section when we don't have a show.
Okay. Now we'll go over to what appears to be the bar area.
Yeah.
Although we're not drinking, folks, don't worry.
A little early today.
A little early to be here. We record this show between 10:30 and 11:30 in the morning, so we don't drink at this time. We can assure you of that. But you have a full bar here.
We do. And we actually have a pretty good selection of sodas and things like that for the non-alcoholic person.
So when you have music, comedy shows and stuff, you have the bar that's available here too. Is there food available for that as well?
Always. We always have some sort of food. And usually, just for our basic show, there's a couple appetizers and a couple small meals and a sweet. Okay. So, for example, this Saturday, we've got like chicken wings. We're doing an order of chicken wings.
Oh, nice.
The little brie bites that I think some of the guys took advantage of. It's a little puff pastry. It's got some cranberry on the bottom, little brie, and some pecans in on top, and it's just kind of baked up, and it's yummy and luscious and warm. And then we're doing the pot pies, and then we got a chicken cacciatore that we're doing, and then we're doing what is called a German chocolate pie. So it's in a pie form, but it's got a layer of like fudgy chocolate with nuts in it, and then it's got that yummy coconutty type stuff that you see on top of a German chocolate cake.
It so sounds good. Now, have you got your menu planned for is it December 7th when Pat Caldwell comes and does the Christmas show? The reason that I'm asking purely for selfish purposes, because I intend to be here.
Well, I'll have to send you the emailed copy, but it's more on a whim. Sarah and I get together and sit down and say, what would be great,
Yeah.
So we're always searching for, recipes or going back to some of that were people's favorites that we sold a lot of, which is how people usually let us know unless they verbally tell us. But if we sell a lot of it, then we know it must be good.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. So it'll be a surprise, but I'll be here.
Yes.
So I'll be surprised.
I can guarantee it's gonna be good. It'll be
Yeah.
one of our favorites.
Now it's pretty easy to get into the Abbey. You have a couple of handicapped accessible entrances.
Yep.
And you have bathrooms and so forth. As a matter of fact, in your future expansion plans, you talked about adding bathrooms, and what are some of the other things you're going to be doing?
Well, I'd like to add bathrooms. I'd love to be able to move office and green room space up to the attic and extend this room out so that it doubles the size on this level.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds ambitious. Now, the other thing you talked about is repointing the bricks, which is not as much fun, but it's a necessary thing to do.
Yes, it's a necessary thing to keep up the building. So probably before we get to do the expansion, we need a new heating system, and we got to repoint the bricks. So those are the things that nobody sees, but has to be.
Those are the boring infrastructure
Yeah.
things, but are entirely necessary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we're upstairs right now, and then we're going to go downstairs and
Check
let
out-
you see
yeah.
that area.
Yeah, check out the brunch space.
Absolutely. So let's do that.
I mean, we do dinners and things as well. We just hosted the Marine Corps Ball here last
wow.
Saturday, and that was also downstairs.
Oh, fantastic.
This is our space for brunch. So it's kind of a different feel than upstairs, where upstairs, has the soaring ceilings and the dark woodwork. Down here, everything's a little lighter, a little brighter.
It is. Are these tin ceilings?
They are.
Oh, neat.
I know. I love them. I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, you've got quite a bit of space down here, really. And this is where they host the Sunday brunch,
Yep.
right?
People will let you know. They tell you what they think. 11 was too late.
Yeah.
They had already eaten by the time 11 rolled around, so we changed our hours, went an hour earlier, so we went 10 to 1.
All right, let's look around here. This looks like a wonderful.
Yeah. So, when we do brunches, we usually have an omelet station that we have over here, and homemade breads and the muffin. Like we had the muffins upstairs, and we do 3 desserts that we put out, and there's prime rib down on the carving station, and then bacon and sausage and.
What's the price?
Oh, it's $20.
$20.
But it includes all of that, and you can go up more than once.
Okay.
We do have, if you have children that are little kids, 10 and under, we'll say, we'll do that plate for 10 rather than 20, because they don't eat much. But
Yeah, and this is every Sunday.
every Sunday, with the exception of Thanksgiving week and Christmas week, and we're not going to do 4th of July because that was no fun last 4th.
Yeah.
But those are weeks for family. So
Okay. And you have, I remember talking about the wine bar, but there's a
Yeah.
wine bar over here.
Yeah,
as
we got a
well.
little bar over here that we have for our events, hidden in what used to be just a closet. And here's the picture you were talking about, John, where there was just not a lot in downtown Madison, but you can see that's the cemetery I was talking about. That's in behind the Big Apple, and you can see that the library's not even there yet. But there's the Abbey. And the Carnival College is not there yet.
Okay.
We had not built it for the parks.
Now, what year did you say this was?
From what I was told, the parsonage was built in 1907.
Yeah. So
it was obviously previous to that, and the building itself was built in 1892. So that kind of
somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. And now, so this could be for a wedding. This could be your reception area.
Yeah, reception area.
And what do you, music-wise, what do you do? You pipe in some music sometimes, or is there a band occasionally, or what
People
have you?
will sometimes bring bands down here, but we haven't had a show down here in a year since we've kind of moved everything upstairs.
Okay.
We have an in-system satellite for just backup music, or people can hire their own bands or DJ.
Okay.
Like the Marine Corps Ball had their, I gotta think of his first name, Mr. Fazio anyways, was here with his DJ service for them, and he just kind of set up over there, and they had a dance floor in the center, and tables all around.
And we also have a piano over here. Does anyone ever play the piano, or has this been tuned?
It's in tune, and random customers sometimes play it, and yeah, that's about it. I don't actually have anybody on staff that plays, but it's always available. The building itself is in pretty good shape, so we didn't have to do much there. We did have a 6-burner gas Garland stove that was not grandfathered for us. It was for the church. If we were to keep it, we would have had to put in one of those fire suppression things, and we were quoted something like $20,000. And we didn't have a budget for that when we started. We literally started this place on a shoestring and have just been making it work.
Yeah.
But so the stove had to go.
Yeah.
So we cook with. I do have a gas oven, but that's okay because it's closed. And just our open burners, we use induction burners. So we will both eventually be here, but right now in the summertime, I lose my husband and he goes to Vermont and runs our tent company, and then I see him back in the fall. So it's a strange situation, but hopefully only for a little while, and then we'll be both here. You talk to any business owner when they're first starting off, the first few years are the hardest.
For sure.
And if we didn't have another income, I don't know, if this would still be here.
Right.
So it's not always easy, but it's certainly fun and very fulfilling, and I'm glad I'm here.
You're no different than almost any business. You have to be in it for a while, and it takes a while for people to realize you're there. And once again, a lot of it after a while is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting people to come, and I'm sure you've got a lot of word of mouth now.
Well, I hope so. We try. We knock ourselves out trying to do the best job that we can for the people who come in here, whether it's a wedding or the Marine Corps Ball or a luncheon for Scouting and Savings. We want everybody to be happy and to walk away feeling that we care about what we put out of the kitchen and that we care about their event, and we're offering something that's a quality product here.
Absolutely. Okay, on to the Carnival Cottage.
Yes.
Okay, and here we are in the Carnival Cottage.
Yes.
And looks like a great place to stay before a wedding or whatever event you're doing. And here's a really nice dining room.
Yeah, so we offer this up for bridal couples, as I mentioned before, but we also have it listed on Airbnb, so people in town, if they've got family coming to stay, this is an option that they can use. Or when we have visiting bands from out of state, they come and stay here as well. But because I offer it for bridal couples, I have a little bridal slant on it where the pictures there are 3 generations of women in my family's wedding pictures.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, I've got my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the one thing I was also looking at is this chandelier. That is really something.
Hit every yard sale, secondhand shop. This had been used. The church had it for the battered women's shelter, and when they decided to move, I needed to do something with the space. So this is what I've done. But I got that one and its mate over there at a place in Newport, secondhand shop.
Newport, Maine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that came from a farmhouse that was having a yard sale on the way here, right above head. And that's a cast iron fixture there. But
fantastic.
because it was run by the state, everything was fluorescent lighting. So they kind of, sometimes they just manage to take the sexy out of everything.
That doesn't seem appropriate in this.
We do share the space in the back. I rent that out to a massage therapist.
I know her. She's
So-
my massage therapist.
Yeah, isn't she great?
Jamie's very good.
This is just a little kitchen space here for them to use while they're here. And then this just really cool set of stairs that runs into the hallway, but it also runs up there.
And this it's a good sized place, actually. It's got 4 bedrooms,
4
and 2
bedrooms.
baths. And
Yeah.
It has a big fireplace somewhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta go
on the other side.
We gotta go see that. Oh, nice.
Along with
Certainly keep you nice and comfortable, and it's an operating fireplace, right?
no.
Not really. It's
it may be.
It's an ambiance fireplace.
Yeah, I encourage people to use the faux candles.
Oh, okay.
I do have some fun little things that the bands tend to leave behind for me.
Oh,
They
nice.
leave me little pics and
And another cool chandelier too.
yeah. I don't remember where I found that one. That one was at a secondhand shop as well.
Yeah.
Might have been in Waterville.
Boy, very, very nice. Let's take a look upstairs.
So yeah, right behind you, Hunter, is one of the rooms.
So we've got a four bedroom upstairs. Well, was this a rectory at one point? I think it went with a church. So
Here's another one of the rooms.
Yeah.
Here.
yeah,
Ralph Withy could probably answer that question. Ralph or Charlotte,
sure.
as in terms of the last. When we were working on it, it was kind of neat. I found some old Christmas cards that had fallen inside the wall somehow, and one of them was actually to the Reverend from Charlotte, I believe, pre getting married to Ralph. So she was not a Withy yet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But so she had been attending the church since she was
Yeah.
very young. So yeah, so there's that bedroom. Of course, bathroom, not as sexy, but always needed.
Well, this is
And then-
one fine bed here.
Yeah, and then you get the.
Would you call this the master?
I guess so, probably.
Yeah.
Right now, it's sort of the bridal suite. I would like to eventually extend that up into the attic space and include another bedroom. But for now, 4 bedrooms is good.
That's very nice. Looks in great condition. So you must have gone through all this and repainted it and put new chandeliers in, and really period type
Yeah.
beds and dressers and so forth. Very nice.
No, this is the only fluorescent light left still in the house.
Oh.
And that's only because I haven't found a great alternative to go in its place.
We've had, I guess, pretty much a complete tour of the cottage. I think that's wonderful. And it may be a good time to kind of, I guess, wrap up our show.
Okay.
And Stacy, I really want to thank you for the interview today, and also letting us go through your properties.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming by.
And gave us a chance, and gave the audience a chance to find out all the things that you're doing. And it's just been really very interesting. And hopefully you'll do very well in the future with the place, because this is, I think, perhaps a key to Madison's revival. We'll put you on that
Right.
pedestal, okay?
As I said, I'm just one of many here
Yeah.
trying to make Madison just a great place to come and shop and live and play.
Well, certainly you're luring people from a fairly great distance at times to come here for your various shows, and this coming weekend, hopefully we get on air in time, because Elton John Tribute Band is on Friday night.
Yeah.
And you've got Gunther Brown, right?
Gunther Brown, another great local
Yeah.
band they're out of the Portland area, but Pete, who is the guy who plays guitar and sings out front, actually has ties to the area. I think his grandfather lived over in Norwich Walk, and so he has some songs that are just named for some of the towns and regions, but they're almost have a southern rock kind
Okay.
of feel to it, slightly country, but definitely rock. And it's the usual things. Songs about love found and love lost and life.
Absolutely. So that's coming up, and then of course December 7th, right? The Pat Caldwell Motown
the flashy
Christmas show, which I have been to previously. We'll go
Yes.
to again, and that sounds like a lot of fun too. So
It's so much fun. He's got the backup singers. He's got the whole horn section. I mean, he does it up.
So there's so many things going on at Somerset Abbey. So come on out. If you haven't been here before, please come, because you've got a wonderful entertainment place right here in Madison, Maine. So please come, and now you know.